Hey, this is Matt with Let's Talk Music. I'm here with Tony West of Blacklist Union. And Tony, looks like you're wandering around. Where you at, buddy?
I'm in Whole Foods in Sherman Oaks, California.
Nice.
Just got tattooed for 5.5 hours, so starving.
Oh, really? Man, what'd you get done? Arm, back, what?
I'm actually sleeving out my legs. That's pretty much all I got left. So
There you
yeah,
go. Yeah, man. When I was younger feller, I was wanting to get some sleeves, but couldn't afford it. And now I'm like, I really miss them because I just love tattoos. I got last one I got was some praying hands for my mom, or well, not my mom, but my grandma and my grandpa. So, but anyways, let's get to the Blacklist Union, man. Watched the video and the song "Letters from the Psych Ward." Uh, really enjoyed that because I feel like sometimes I should be on a psych ward.
yeah.
So tell me
We've
about
all
that,
had
man.
those.
What provoked that song?
I mean, that's actually the second single off the upcoming record. The first single is called "The Queen of Everything." We have a video for that as well, and then
Yes.
"Letters from the Psych Ward" is the title track. I was actually at a therapist once, and I'm like, my daughter's mother, she isn't writing me back. Like, what the hell? And the therapist was like, why would she? That's like letters from the psych ward. And I was like, what? I'm like, that's the name of my next record. I'm like, thank you, bye.
Oh yeah, props to the therapist then. Yeah, I
Right?
listened to the Queen of Everything too. Really enjoyed that. I mean, you guys got a really catchy sound, and,
Oh,
and
thank you.
it's as soon as I heard it, I hit shot it up. I said, let's do it. You
Nice, nice.
know, so
Thank you so much. I like your guitars in the background there. Are those Les Pauls?
yes, but that
Right.
is actually a background.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, I wish that was mine. No,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I have an emblem. It's a skull with headphones, and it says "Let's Talk Music, Rock Music and More.com" at the bottom. But it's I've used it for like almost 200 interviews, so I figure I'd use something different.
Nice, nice. Okay.
I mean, obviously, you see the chick's face on the monitor back there. I would not have that.
Yeah. Are you married or?
Yeah, I'm married. I would have something much cooler than that in the background. I mean,
Yeah.
that looks like a nun. So, but anyways, man, tell me about your band, dude.
Tell you about my band?
Yes, sir.
I mean, this is our fifth record. The last one was called Back to Momo. I wrote that with Todd Youth, who played with Danzig and Ace Frehley and Glenn Campbell, all kinds of things. And he passed away in 2018. He was my songwriting partner and one of my closest friends. And then so then COVID happened and all this shit, and trying to find a writing partner, and I actually wrote, writing, trying to find a writing partner is like trying to find a wife. It's not an easy thing to do, and because you got to have chemistry, you got to have all of that, just so I ended up writing the Letters from the Psych Ward record with Chris Johnson, who produced now all five of the Blacklist Union records. And most of these songs are about I went to the Amazon jungle in Peru with the Shipibo Indians, and I did ayahuasca 5 times and did this heavy spiritual journey and healing trauma therapy deal. And a lot of these songs are about that exact thing. So,
Did it work?
I mean, it's worked better than anything I've ever done before in my life.
Hmm.
Uh, so,
Yeah,
yeah.
it sounds like something I need to do, man. I'm telling you, it's life anymore is tough, and it doesn't matter what you're doing or where you're from. I don't think there's anybody that has that perfectly you know smile type life, and it is, man. And I've been to, like you said, I've been to shrinks, stuff like that, and mental health anymore is huge. and a lot of artists are writing about it. And I actually did one of Shauna's bands not too long ago called Discrepancies, and they came out with this song that was like really got to me. And I was like, I mean, God, I was like, I really want to do these guys. I want to talk to them about this song because I had just had like a breakdown, and it was more just everyday stresses. It wasn't like my wife left me or anything like that. It was just life is tough, man, and I applaud you guys that really touch on the mental health aspects because 20 years ago that wasn't really a thing. You know what I mean? People didn't write much about that. They wrote about sex, drugs, and rock and roll. You know, so yeah, dude, I applaud you for that. And like, I mean, the spiritual healing, the mental healing is all just part of, I guess, the journey.
Yeah. I mean, this isn't an easy journey for anyone, no matter how much money you got, how much fame you got, none of that shit matters. Um, People are assholes when they drive out here. Did you hear that honking?
Yeah.
But and for us music people that really have dedicated our lives to music, most of us, I think it's safe to say that for me at least, I know, and many other people I've talked to, peers, contemporaries, whatever, music saved my life, dude. It was the
Mhm.
one thing that was always there for me growing up in my abusive childhood and shit. And it's healing, and so I've been through a lot of trials and tribulations, a lot of losses, a lot of victories, all kinds of things, and that's just life. Nobody said it was going to be fucking easy. So and I get these emails sometimes, but people saying, your song helped me get through the death of my loved one, or, your song helped me survive another day. Like, it's all about that shit, man. I mean, look at, people like John Lennon, who, he was so deep and spiritual, and like how his music, I mean, lifted up the masses in a huge way. I'm not, of course, comparing myself to John Lennon, but music it's all encompassing. It's healing,
Right.
and for the artists, it's our jobs to express what we've been through our music, and it's very therapeutic when I perform these songs, sing these songs, and it is for other people.
Yes.
So, and it's all about, for me, if I touched one person, man, through my music, I did my job. So,
I was
yeah.
gonna say, as an artist, that's got to feel really good when somebody sends you a message or an email or whatever and says, "Hey, man, you did this for me." And I
Yeah, and
mean,
it always comes at the point where you're like, fuck this, I quit, I can't do this anymore. Then boom, the universe sends you an email or a voicemail or a text from someone that's like, just saying that you helped them, and it's like, okay, keep going. Yeah. So.
so the name Blacklist Union, how did that come about?
I mean, for me, rock and roll was always attractive to me by the true outlaws of rock and roll, like Bon Scott and Axl and Scott Weiland and Lane and all those guys. And, I wanted to put together a band of guys, the best players with the worst reputations. That was just rock and roll to me. So
Right.
Blacklist Union. And there's a couple of promoters in LA, one specifically, I don't even want to open that can of worms and drop a name, but like, I mean, some of these people are so cutthroat and such assholes, that they blacklist you from shit because, you're not playing their bullshit, games or whatever,
Right.
So in LA, I mean, there's not even much of a music scene here anymore, but for a long time it was very clicky and political and all that kind of shit. And I didn't get into art and music for that.
Right.
So, yeah. So that's kind of the origin
Speaking
of
of
the name.
art, speaking of art, do you do any kind of art, or is just music your only art?
No, I'm a painter. I've done paintings. I've been drawing since I was a kid. I'm a writer. I mean, hence songwriter. I've been in a couple movies, and just art at any form is I like that. So
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean that's what music is. I mean but it's also it's a language. It speaks to you. It's
Right.
a I mean just like if you go into a museum, not no two people are going to see or have the same idea of that piece of art that's on the wall. Somebody's going to
Right.
say, "Well, I see this," and the person next to him's like, "Really? I see this." You
Well,
know,
yeah, it's interpretation. Everyone has their own interpretation. Yeah.
right? And I think that's what's great about music because, I mean, you can get the gist of a song, but it's really in how you take it. So, like, it's letters from the psych ward, for instance. You told us the meaning, but other people can listen to the song and say, I've actually had letters from a psych ward, or if it means this to me. So that's what's so great about music, man, is it's the way you interpret it is
Yeah.
what. And I mean, you guys as musicians, you lay this down on a piece of paper, your feelings, your experiences, and you put it out there, and there's thousands of people listening to this, and one person is going to say, Tony, I get you, man. Been there, done that, or two people. But other people are going to say, oh, this is my idea of it. And, I mean, for the longest time, like Master of Puppets, I thought that was about, the devil. I had no idea it was about cocaine, you know,
Yeah.
but,
Yeah.
it finally clicked when I heard Chop Your Breakfast on the Mirror. I'm like, oh, okay, I've done that before. And, so
Yeah.
yeah.
That's funny because our second record is called Breaking Bread with the Devil, and I remember a friend of mine was like, "You need to stop talking about the devil." I'm like, first of all, it's not about the devil. I'm like, what that means is inviting the wrong people into your life, into your heart. It has nothing to do with the devil. Breaking bread with the devil is a term I coined, which means inviting the wrong people into your life. Like, so yeah, everyone has their own takeaway, their own interpretation, but that's not only with music, that's with life
Right.
itself. So,
So what's tour plans, man? You guys getting out and about?
yeah, we're just we have our first show back July 29th, the Whiskey here in Los Angeles, and we're going to be getting over to Europe and the UK and all that stuff. We're going to do all that.
Oh
So
yeah.
I'm looking forward
So
to that.
whiskey, man. I mean, with all the history there, how was that playing that place?
I mean, it's always great. Mario Maglieri, rest in peace. He owned that place. I knew him since I was a kid. He passed away a few years ago, but like, I mean, when Mario was alive, it was different. I mean, his grandchildren do a great job running it, but things have changed a little bit. You definitely don't have Mario telling you the stories about when he kicked Morrison and John Bonham and Keith Moon's ass because they all got naked on stage. All these amazing stories Mario used to tell us, but fucking everybody's played at the Whiskey, man.
Oh
From
yeah.
the Doors to Aerosmith, the Guns N' Roses to Alice in Chains, Stone Temple Pilots, everybody. So
Yeah.
I love playing there, and it's our home crowd. So it's been a minute since we played in front of our home crowd, so that's going to be good.
That is definitely a staple on Hollywood Boulevard. I
Yeah,
mean,
Sunset Boulevard. Yeah,
Sunset, my bad. Shit.
yeah,
I mean, we had the Alrosa Villa here, which
yeah,
Rick Catella owned that, and man,
yeah.
that place hosted so many bands. I actually seen Korn there on their first album. And
Wow.
when I first saw them, I'm like, I really like these guys, but I don't think they're going to go far. And now look at them.
Hmm. Yeah,
You know, good thing I'm not a music critic, but same place that Dimebag was killed. You
yeah,
know, they ended up tearing it down a year or two ago, and they're building
right,
apartments. And I kind of felt
yeah,
like, man, that's not right. But
right,
who am I to say? And the Newport Music Hall, that's like the oldest, longest consecutive running rock club in the United States.
yeah.
So that's a cool place to see a show. It's very nostalgic. um, my brother actually drank a beer or got drunk with Angus Young there in
Wow,
1978.
nice.
Yeah, I was two.
Yeah,
but yeah, man, I mean, we got some pretty killer venues here. I mean, but I really don't think anything really compares to like the whiskey, Viper Room, CBGB. I mean, those are just they were the it places back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s.
Well, I've been to all those places and played all those places you just mentioned, with the exception of CB's. But it's the people, man, that make those places fucking kick ass. You know, it's the fans and the people. Yeah, those places are legendary, great places. But it's the people that bring their spirit and their love for music that makes those places great. I mean, CBGB's, when I was a kid, I'd go there and it was a fucking dive. Like, you didn't even want to use the bathroom. Like, even as a dude peeing, standing up, like, you didn't want to use the bathroom in there. And then I would mosh as a kid, and like, so I was really tall, and they had these low hanging pipes, and like, so I would hit my head on the pipe, but not only that, but the pipe would be burning ass hot. You know what I mean? So all those divey places, it's the spirit and the love of rock and roll that makes them so great.
Oh yeah, yeah, and I mean that was the Alrosa Villa. I mean, it
Yeah,
was a small venue, man, but it
yeah.
just it was the people. That place was always packed. Newport's
And
always.
Ohio is a great, heart of rock and roll, man. That whole, Ohio, Detroit, like Wisconsin, all those places. Um, did I say Chicago? But the Midwest is like fucking the heart of rock and roll right there, man.
It is, and it's weird. You would think that we'd be cow tipping and shit, man, but we're all out here headbanging. I mean,
There is some of that going on too, though.
well, yeah,
Yeah,
but I mean, you got Sonic Temple coming up this weekend. 4 days of just crazy ass rock and roll, dude. Um,
nice.
it used to be Rock on the Range, but I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, I remember that.
yeah, Danny Wimmer, dude, he's got that. Then he's got Incarceration. I think that's in like, oh, I want to say July or something. At the old
Nice.
Mansfield prison. So I mean, a lot of the festivals that used to be untouchable for us, out in California, Florida, Oklahoma, whatever, he finally expanded out this way, and they're freaking killer, man.
Yeah.
What about festivals? You guys trying to get any of those lined up?
Yeah, it'll be next year for the festivals. Those get booked out a year before. Our album drops in September, so we just got new management and stuff. So all that stuff is unfolding now as we go. Like, we're setting up the record and the release date and the singles and all that stuff. So it's a
Okay.
whole process. Yeah.
So man, I'm not gonna keep you much longer. I know I was a little late. I apologize again. I
Yeah,
and
no worries.
really appreciate talking to you, bud. But
Of course.
what is it that got you into music, man? And I don't mean your influences. I mean, what made Tony West decide, hey, this is what I want to do?
I mean, I always tell this story, but when I was 5 years old, I asked my uncle, "Who's that girl in that poster?" And he said, "That's no girl, that's David Bowie." And my life was never the same. And then when I was 11, my uncle took me to see AC/DC um, at Madison Square Garden in New York, and
Oh, nice.
those two events were the ones where I was like, "That's what I'm going to do with my life." And then also music was always there for me as a kid. Like, I have this one story where, the only happy memory I have of my parents together is me starting to sing a song in the back of their car that I knew the lyrics to. And, they smiled at each other, then turned around, smiled at me. So, those little key moments I just added up. And from as long as I can remember, I wanted to be a singer, and I started writing songs when I was 5 or 6. So,
Nice.
yeah,
Well, thank you for sharing that with me, man. And that's like one of my
yeah, of
favorite
course,
questions to ask an artist. Because it's really you always get such a different answer. And I mean,
yeah,
it's either I grew up in a home of music, or but it's the ones where like the special moments that you just spoke of that really kind of like, man, that's really cool.
yeah, life-defining moments.
Yes, sir. All
So,
right, Tony. Well, I am going to let you off here, buddy. I really appreciate you joining me this evening, and I'm
yep.
going to look forward to some new shit from Blacklist Union. Really like the couple jams that I've heard. You guys are
Thank you so
freaking
much.
awesome. And good luck on them sleeves.
Yeah, thank you, bro. Nice chatting with you. Have a good night, huh?
You too, man.
All right, take care.
Later.
Bye-bye.